I'm Donovan, and this is Ear for Fear, and this is a podcast where we talk about scary movies or movies trying to be scary.
Hey, and I'm Rick. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about 1995's Demon Knight. It's a Tales from the Crypt, I guess Vault of Horror or some shit like that. Before you and I dive into this thing, let me do a quick synopsis on it. A stranger on the run is hunted by a demon known as the Collector. The man carries the last of 7 keys, which are special containers that hold the blood of Christ. These keys were scattered across the universe to prevent the forces of evil from taking over. If the Collector gets the last key, the universe will fall into chaos. The Collector has tracked the man to a small inn located in a nowhere town. The final battle begins. So, Demon Knight, Donovan. Well, first of all, welcome back. It's been a long time. What has it been? About a month and a half. 2020 still sucks. So nothing really has changed, right?
No, if anything, things have gotten worse. Actually, things have objectively gotten worse, but let's keep going.
Yeah, most of California is burning down. We got the elections coming up, but we won't get too political. I guess spoiler alert, right?
Yeah, just right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
You know, Demon Knight, 1995. You had seen this before.
Yeah, when I was a kid. I think I've talked about it on the podcast.
You have. I think early on you had. You were basically around 4, I think, when this came out.
Yeah, but I didn't watch it at 4.
No.
I watched it when it was on video, because I remember some of it.
Yeah.
So I remember it terrifying me, and being the ripe old age of 29, I can tell you this is not a scary movie. I think there's like one scary part, and it's when what's her name from The Shield?
Oh, well, her I think her actress's name is like CCH Pounder or CC something like that.
Yeah.
I think her character name is it Irene?
She's like the owner of the hotel.
Yeah, I want to say it's Irene.
And her arm gets like ripped off.
Yeah.
And that scared me back then. And it's like really uncomfortable for me like now still.
Yeah.
So that's good scene. It's still very effective. But that's kind of like the only thing
really
that was like the same. And then I think I found like the whole usage of blood like a really cool mechanic. And I still like it today.
Yeah, me too.
Like I think those are like, and Billy Zane. Those are like the 3.
Billy Zane is awesome. Let's just say that right off the bat.
Those are like the 3 things that I really like about this movie. Everything else, I'm just like kind of throw it out the door. Don't really care for it. There's some good performances though. Like obviously Billy Zane is pretty good. Miss Pounder's really good as the hotel manager.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett before she was Jada Pinkett Smith.
Right. She's okay.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Fine.
Like she's adequate. I don't think she like hurts the movie. I don't think she also like elevates it either.
Yeah. William Sadler I thought was pretty good. He's always been pretty solid throughout the years.
Was he the main guy?
Yeah, Breaker.
Yeah.
And then you got all these little bits, and you got like Wally, who's played by Charles Fleischer, which I think I'm saying that correctly. He was in the original. I think he was a comedian, but he had a small role in the original Elm Street. But he was also the voice of Roger Rabbit and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And then you got other there's other little kind of actors that we've seen along the way. They may not star and stuff, but we've seen them in other films.
Who's the guy who plays the asshole?
Oh, that's what's his name? Roach. Oh my God, I forget the actor's name.
Well, through the power of the internet, we can look it up.
Yeah, I forget his name.
His character is called Roach.
Yeah, Roach, which is kind of appropriate, right?
Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, he's been in other stuff too.
Yeah, he's a face you recognize for sure.
Yeah.
He was really good too.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who can make you like think or make you believe you're a giant asshole does pretty, it's good,
I mean,
good work.
the thing is with this movie, so I saw this when it came out in '95. Went to the theater. I liked it. I still like it. I think watching it again, I kind of agree with some of the stuff you're saying. Like it's still fun for me. It's a fun movie. I like movies that almost take place over the course of a night, and then you get a bunch of characters that are they're basically isolated to, a home or and I like that. Not to mention, like we said, Billy Zane and demons. And the demons are cool looking. I mean, they're not the greatest. Okay. Like they didn't have like the biggest budget for this thing. But I love the kind of the looks of them. They almost look like they got earrings on, and you were mentioning the blood, which is green. I had read that they basically took those, those things at night when you crack them and they glow in the dark. Like I don't know. Other than glow in the dark things, I don't know what you call them.
Glow sticks.
Glow sticks. Thank you. They said they cracked those open and used those. That was the blood that they used.
That's cool.
Which completely worked. It was good.
This movie reminds me of like The Raid or like Judge Dredd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for like like those movies are like taking this idea and then putting it in like an action scenario instead. And you have to like work your way up or out. Except here it's like keep yourself in, keep everything else out. Yeah. I never really noticed that as like a horror like trope, but I think those movies are actually borrowing from like this type of situation where you've got like this external threat, you're trying to keep it out, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, so like when it comes to the blood, I just find that really cool. But I will fault the movie for never really giving you like how much is left. They only say at the very end, like, "Oh yeah, I only have room. I only have enough for one more."
Yeah, yeah.
But throughout the rest of it, like he's got to be. First of all, at this like, he can't have too much of it, and he's very liberal on it on some of them. So it's like, oh shit, that's probably like 1/20th of what he's got in there.
Right.
And then like you find out that he's been doing this since like World War I, so since like 1916ish. So I think this movie takes place in like the 90s, right? So about 80 years.
Right.
What are you talking about?
I know.
Bro?
Would he have been out of it? Right. Unless like several years have gone by where no one's tracked him down.
But Billy Zane was like on his ass, man.
But he was on his ass in relation to the beginning of the movie and beyond, because of course we needed that story. But how do we know that, Breaker or William Sadler's character, how do we know for 60 years he was fine and he was chilling somewhere and then all of a sudden they found him and then he still had the key and maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of left unsaid.
Dude,
I mean,
at the end of the movie, Jada's character,
what's her name? Geraldine?
It's a very weird name. It's like spelled a weird way.
Yeah, no, Geraldine or Geraldine. I don't know, something like that.
It's spelled Jerry Line.
So we'll just call her Jada.
Okay. Yeah, it's like she like just gets the position handed to her at the end of the movie. Like, so here's the key or whatever.
Yeah.
Then boom, right away, the very same bus she takes.
True.
Like the guy's there. They know.
But is it because the thing that just happened with, the collector, Billy Zane's character, like he was so close to getting it. And so there hasn't been any time in between to separate, like she's on this bus and he doesn't get on the bus. So now, he's going to have to walk, and who know? I don't know. I mean, or can they track it by like, does this key have some sort of like power where you can almost, I don't know, sense that it's near or something. I don't know.
I'm not into speculating. I'm not into like making up rules for the movie, when they should have done it. So it's, like it's not explained. It should have been explained. And I don't know. Like, I just, it's fun. I just think that you're kind of stretching it to make me believe that, what's his face, Breaker can like have this much blood 80 years down the line. All they had to do is be like, yeah, if you like use your own blood, it's okay. Or maybe it's like not as good,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because obviously at the end of the movie, after he sacrificed himself, he was able to give his blood.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's also not very clear. You know, like I forget what like his like role is. I'm just gonna call him like the wanderer, like the key holder or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you can use that blood, but it's only after you've sacrificed or done something or passed on the key.
Yes. Well, the stars on his hand have to align. And once they align, and then and then obviously he dies, or he can pass the key on with his blood, and then. But I mean, if he was, let's say he was running low on blood, and he was somewhere, could he use his own?
Could he just put some water in there and
no, I don't
or some
think
Robitussin
so.
or something?
More Robitussin.
Like it's just
shake it up.
I hate having. I don't mind movies not spelling everything out for me, but I do like knowing the rules so I know the stakes. And in this particular case, when you're giving me a rule, but you're not like giving me like the subsections of that rule, I'm like, well, I'm coming up with solutions while I'm watching the movie, and it takes me out because then I'm asking questions like, well, why didn't they do that? And obviously, like the really smart, and I know I know the type of movie we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here. Okay. I'm totally aware. But that doesn't excuse the fact that it doesn't like fill those gaps in, like something like Back to the Future or something,
I know, but I know.
But that doesn't excuse it.
I know. It's not that I don't.
You're trying to like be like, okay, hand wave. This is a low budget horror movie based on a comic. I don't care. It needs to address that. If you're going to give me like a 5-minute backstory on like heaven and hell and 7 keys, you had time for that. So, that was like when it comes to that cool mechanic, like that's my one gripe. But other than that, it's like really cool. And I kind of like, part of me wants this movie remade because there's so much potential and there's like demons chasing after a guy, and he has to use something to keep them at bay. And he only has like a little bit.
It's the blood of Christ, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go with like the blood of Christ in a remake because,
yeah, that would be a little
keeping it like that on like, just ultra religious movies these days definitely aren't in favor, and you might alienate a certain portion of your audience. Like I'm not totally against the idea of like demons or even heaven and hell. Cause I'm like okay with this movie. I'm okay with something like Constantine.
Yeah.
But you might alienate people of different faiths, and things can get kind of weird.
Especially nowadays. People are very sensitive these days.
And I just think that you're kind of limiting yourself if that's the route you're going to pigeon your hole in, because then you're like confining yourself to the, like Christian or Catholic mythology, quote unquote. And hopefully I don't make anyone mad by saying that. I just mean like, the history of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, the sky's the limit if you choose to do something else. But like that thing as a mechanic that your whole story has to revolve around is a neat idea.
No, it is. It is a neat idea. And then, the thing is, I mean, over the years, this thing has changed hands. So, I mean, what is there, a drop or two of Christ's blood still in there and mixed in with everyone else's blood that's using along the way?
It's like it's not Odysseus' ship, is it? There's like a thingy, something's ship. And it's like, if you replace like a board of that ship and you do that for the whole ship, like when's it stop being the ship? Or is it always still the ship? You know what I'm trying to say?
I know exactly what you're saying.
I forget which one it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, is his blood even in the thing anymore?
Maybe,
probably not. Or maybe it's just the act of him giving the blood.
Did you find yourself, every time I've seen this movie, I find myself going, hey, don't put so much blood. Like you gotta.
Yeah, dude. Like obviously like one drop's good.
Because there's a scene with Jada where she basically takes one drop on her finger and puts it on the windowsill and it seals it up. Why hasn't he been doing that? I would have stuck my finger in, boom, seal.
See, and now we get like into the nitty gritty. Like, is like one like little blood cell okay? If you're able to just like isolate one blood cell and put it on the threshold of something, is that good? That's a lot of stuff there, dude.
Yeah.
That would last you a long time. There's got to be millions of blood cells in there.
Well, if you think about it, I know we're probably analyzing this whole
obviously we thought about this more in 5 minutes than the movie the filmmakers did.
But like there's the scene where they go to the second level of this I don't know. Let's just call it. I guess they're calling it an inn. And they go to the second level, and all that is open stairs, and they put blood there. That's really not an entrance like your typical door, window. See, to me, it's like the rules don't. They kind of got. I don't know. They kind of got muddled there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
is
like
that, you know?
they should have defined it clearly for
Yeah.
sure. Like it's specifically thresholds, you know, like
Yeah.
because the threshold is like pretty easily defined. I'm not going to try to define it because I don't have this like definition locked in my brain, but
Yeah.
you know what it is when you see it. You know, go through a door, boom, threshold.
Right.
If you go
A window,
like, if you climb upstairs and you go from the last step to the floor, that's not necessarily a threshold,
no,
right? So like,
I wouldn't think so. But
Yeah.
I mean, again, it works for the film.
or is it like, does the blood just go up forever and it stops at a certain spot?
Hmm.
You know, but if that's the case, couldn't you just like put a whole, like, you know, a thing around yourself and you just be fine in that circle?
So did you? Okay,
I
so
don't know.
so did you notice at the end then when he died that all the seals were broken?
Yeah.
And is it because he's now dead and now it has to be resealed with his blood? See, these are these things that we just don't know the answer to.
Also, like, couldn't you just have the key in blood? You know what I mean? Then they could never touch the key,
True.
right?
Yeah.
They would have to somehow wash
Yeah.
it or something.
See, the thing is, I know you don't. I give movies like this a pass, only because I know what they're doing. I know it's not a big budget. I know it's supposed to be kind of fun and campy. And I've explained this a million times on this podcast. I'm a sucker for these movies. I like these movies. They're fun for me. I don't have to think a lot. I think I'm doing more thinking in the first 10 minutes of this than I have watched the movie several times. You know, so
I just think that, you know, I was going to say dumbness is distracting, but I think that's a little too harsh. I think if you're not covering your bases, it's distracting. And they didn't cover their bases in this case.
True.
You know, and I don't want to give a pass for that stuff because you know better. You're smarter than this.
I know. I'm more lenient. I'm more lenient with these things. I know
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah.
Still a good fun movie for me.
Oh yeah, and there's some really good scenes in this movie too. Like
And the
whenever
acting's really good.
whenever
right?
like
I mean,
Billy Zane was on screen, I'm like, I'm into this,
Dude,
like hardcore.
yeah.
Whenever he's like whispering into people's ears,
yeah.
that's like really sweet. There's like good stuff in this movie. That's why I want it remade.
Yeah,
know what
I
I mean?
know, but it won't be the same unless they have Billy Zane.
They need like an older Billy Zane. Like I know like he dies
Yeah.
in this movie, but it's freaking demon stuff.
Well, if you're gonna remake it, then just remake it with Billy
Yeah.
Zane or something. I mean, because he's phenomenal, man.
Billy Zane with I think I saw like I googled him and I think he has like a mustache, or like the photo he had on Wikipedia has like a
Oh.
mustache. Dude, that works. Just cast him as is, dude.
Cast him as is.
Bring in
yeah.
that like purple shirt or whatever too. That's like the 90s fashion back then. Like
What-
everything's a little too big.
Yeah,
I love that.
What I liked is music was good. There's a scene with Jada's character where they're playing. It was a rap group that was popular for 2 seconds and not big, and they were called the Gravediggers. And I know of them because I have their CD somewhere in the garage. And so when that song kicks in, when I saw this movie for the first time, I'm like, holy crap, it's the Gravediggers. And I am like, okay, cool. I was already into the movie when I saw it in 95, but I was like, nice, you know, and most people have never heard of that rap group. Cause dude, literally I think they had like 1 or 2 CDs and they were never huge, you know? But you know, it got me, it was really cool. I mean, it was really cool for me, you know, going back to my rap days when I was listening to all that stuff, you know, not as much anymore. Cause the rap these days sucks, but, you know, anyways, so we don't need to go like scene by scene. You know, the gist of this is we know, Breaker, played by William Sadler, he's being, hunted by, Billy Zane's character, the Collector, for this last key. This is it, right? If they get this last key, it's what, the end of the world? Apocalypse is here.
I don't know.
Is that kind of what they're saying, right?
I think it's like I don't think the universe ends though, right? I think it's just like hell on earth type of thing.
so. It's just
like the demons and whatever, like these powers are kept at bay. But if you bring them together, take all the blood out, you know, they've got full reign, something like that.
Something like that.
I don't know.
Did you notice the name of the town was called Wormwood?
Yeah.
And I was looking this up because I'm like, I know that has to.
It's like a root or something, right?
Well, no, well, it could be, but I think in this sense, there's a star called Wormwood, and I guess the star is supposed to bring like some sort of a biblical apocalypse.
Oh,
So I think that's why they used the name for the town Wormwood. That's my guess.
yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, the collector's tracking him, and they end up in this small town of Wormwood. It looks like just a small. It looks almost like a shithole, right? I mean, this is like a smear on some. I mean, there's not much to this town,
I mean, I'm really hesitant to call anything a shithole these days, based on some quotes from other people, right?
Yeah.
So, this is a very small town. Maybe not a lot of money's gone into this place. Seems like everyone knows each other type of deal.
Yeah.
I think we literally see like two places. We see outside the restaurant, and then we see the inn, and we see like that's it. I think that's literally it. We don't even see like the police precinct or whatever. We just see cops rolling up, right?
Yeah, I think there's one scene with Uncle Willie where Breaker, where they kind of meet each other, and
like like an alley or something, right?
Like that.
Yeah, like something nondescript.
It almost looked to me like some like rundown or a vacant junkyard / I don't know, something, some sort of I don't know, who knows, man. But anyways, he's looking for a place to stay. Uncle Willie says, yeah, I know a place. And so this is where we get to this inn, and basically we're gonna slowly be introduced to all the main characters here.
Yeah, Willie fucked up, dude. He should have just let that guy do his thing.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. So
got everyone killed. So yeah, we're introduced to like a bunch of different characters.
Yeah, we got Cordelia, who is the I don't know. I say hooker, prostitute.
Yeah, she's a woman of the night.
Woman of the night. I like that better. She's you could tell she stays at the end.
She does. She conducts business at the end. It's like really old school Wild Wild West type of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already talked about the collector Breaker, Jellin, which is Jada. We got Irene, which owns the inn. Uncle Willie, Roach, Sheriff. I think this is Sheriff Tupper.
Well, I mean,
is it Tupper?
I mean, they come in later, but
yeah, Deputy Bob and Wally. Wally's the recently fired mailman.
Yeah,
he's played by Charles Fleischer. He gets fired because they said that that no one was getting their mail and that he was stealing the mail. He of course says he didn't, blah blah blah, and yeah, we find out later that he was stealing it and reading all their mail.
It's good casting because he does look like a guy who'd get fired from the post office. Yeah. So he obviously has a thing for Cordelia. Roach has a business relationship with Cordelia. As in there's transactions involved, right?
Yeah.
So there's that triangle. Then Irene employs Geraldine, and then the two cops, they know everybody in this inn for whatever reason. Like I said, smallish town, probably.
Small town, yeah.
And then Wally's just kind of like, he's like the lovable drunk that.
Oh, that's Uncle Willie.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, Uncle Willie. He's just
Wally,
drunk. He's a drunk, right? He's the town drunk.
Well, I think he's homeless too.
Is he homeless?
I mean, I got the impression he was homeless.
Could be.
Why would he go to the inn?
Yeah.
I don't know.
True.
So yeah, obviously we know what type of movie this is. These are the characters we're going to see die. And then the question is like, well, how did they die? We'll get to that later. So, our dude comes in, we are introduced to all these characters, get a little back and forth with, our Wanderer character Breaker. And then, some of the other characters like, Willie.
Uncle Willie.
Yes, got that right.
Uncle Willie and Geraldine and Irene. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get Billy Zane rolling in with the cops.
Yep. Because he's, his story is, hey, he's stolen something from me and I want it back.
I don't know why the cops are just letting this guy dictate everything.
Right. without checking
you
anything
just say like,
out.
just wait at the police precinct or whatever while we get this sorted out. Let's do all our paperwork. Let's cross all I's and T's. Let's maybe not listen to everything this guy's saying.
Is it okay? So real fast, did you notice they always seem to make the deputy some doofus?
This is like 80s, 90s logic. So,
you know what it reminds me of? Did you ever? I watched it when I was a kid, and of course it was really old, so I was watching reruns. But the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Right, because Don Knotts was just a phenomenal actor, and he was great in that television show. But he was always kind of portrayed in a kind of I don't know, aloof,
it's kind of like the Honeymooners, where you've got the husband who talks a big game, but he's like submissive to his wife. Like that trope, just like, it just keeps going,
You think this is like a typical trope, not a horror trope, but just, hey, the deputy is, he's below the sheriff, so we're going to make him kind of dorky and not as smart. And
you do that because you know what's going on, like right away, right?
Yeah. I don't know, just something I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, man. That stuff happens, and it's just like a language we know. Because you and I, like, has nothing to do with like a generational divide right now, because movies and TV shows have been around for so long that we just, if a movies or a TV show is going to put something in there, we know what it's doing, especially if it's using like a trope, because it's an idea that's been tested. Yeah. And that's why they're tropes. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
So, they're like, doopy deputy. Yeah. So, like I get it. He's the dumb one. He's probably not going to die first, but if he does die first, I'm not surprised. He's probably going to do something stupid later on in the movie. Totally. So yeah, totally, it's a language, and we know exactly what they're saying. So yeah, so like once Billy Zane shows up with the cops, doesn't take long for like shit to like start in the fan. Finally, the cops are like, okay, we've got this thing, but of course we're not going to give it to you, obviously. And then Billy Zane's like, well, I'm not sticking around for that.
Yeah, dude, I'm the collector, bro.
Yeah, I'm a freaking demon from hell, basically, and not like one of those chump demons. So he like takes his fist and he just like shoves it like through his skull.
Through the sheriff's face, due to the other side. This is great. I love this.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I'm like, there's this guy on YouTube called Implicitly Pretentious. And I just, how YouTube works. You just get like shown videos based on, the algorithm works, right? Yeah. So I got recommended his views like, oh yeah, Spider-Man. I'm kind of into that. So, and he's like, he's gone on like the series where he's talking about like the 3 Spider-Man live action incarnations we've had over the past 20 years. So Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. I think it's Mark Webb's Spider-Man. I hope I got his name right. And then of course, our MCU Spider-Man. And he's kind of examining all those 3. And there's like this, he like every video he does, it's like, let's look at the interpretation of this specific thing and how these movies did it. And I know this is like pretty long winded, but I think it's very funny, the interpretation of a punch. Yeah. So in this punch, obviously it's really showing a lot of force. It goes straight through the skull to where he has the skull as like a bracelet on, basically. Yes. Right? It's on his arm. It's decoration, and they pulls off the head. Yeah. A superhero punch, they'd be sent flying. In a normal action movie punch, they'd just be like knocked to the ground, right? Yeah, Something like that.
You can't have that.
You've got 3 different punches, and this is like the horror, like supervillain punch.
The horror punch.
Bam. Yeah. Like straight through the skull. Immediate death. So yeah, this cop, and this is a smart cop. So like, if we were going to have like any hope throughout this movie, it was a smart cop and breaker. And now we just lost half of that. Yep. So, we're kind of like already starting with like, a leg down or something, a man down. So he's dead. Everyone starts freaking out. And then the movie like actually starts. And can we just go back just a little bit? So this is a Tales from the Crypt movie. Yeah. You know more history about this than I do. Apparently they were going to try to make a bunch of feature films.
Yeah, they did. So originally, Demon Knight came out in 95. Bordello of Blood came out, I believe, a year later, which was 96. And that was just a complete piece of crap. It was basically a vampire movie. Dennis Miller was in it. Corey Feldman had a small role in it. The rumor I heard was that during the filming, they basically cut the budget in half. And that would make sense because it just wasn't good. And I think the idea was Tales from the Crypt was going to release like a feature film every year. And I think they did that one. And then I think in 2002 or something, they did a movie called The Ritual. I never saw it, or just Ritual. I looked it up on IMDb and got like 4.8. I'd never heard of it. It probably was complete crap. That was their idea. I don't know why, because Demon Knight, I don't know if it did really well, but I thought it was a pretty good. Installment. I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it for what it is. And then maybe after Bordello of Blood, just kind of, I'm going to assume it bombed. They probably just said, So I don't know.
Right. So to my point, though, this movie kind of has three intros, right? It has the Tales from the Crypt introduction, and then we've got like another like frame. It's a strong word to say narrative, but you've got another framing device right after that.
Yes.
And then you have the movie start proper. And it ends that way too. It ends with that middle frame again, and then the Tales from the Crypt ending. And that's like after our movie ends.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're like in a triple like Oreo, but like the Oreo is not the filling. It's like the bread, right? And so you've got like three of that on either end. And it's like, this doesn't really help the movie, in my opinion. They should have gotten rid of the Tales from the Crypt ending and beginning and kept the Crypt Keeper stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
Because that's the fun stuff.
It is fun, yeah.
Even that's a little pushing it because they're like filming a movie and they're like going through all of that. They kind of like throw in some like TNA for whatever reason. This is like the 90s, right? Of course they were going to do it, I guess.
Yeah, they
do. No reason to. It doesn't do anything to the movie. It's just there to titillate, a certain portion of the audience. I think they're going to pay for the ticket. So you got that. And it adds like I didn't time it obviously, but I'm going to assume like 15ish minutes, somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. And if they wanted to make the movie longer, a la like Tarantino and Rodriguez's Grindhouse.
Oh, the Planet Terror and Death, whatever.
Would that have helped the movie? I'm assuming, in their opinion, no, because this movie is probably like an hour and 10 minutes long if you like get rid of that stuff. So like that could have been time better spent doing some of the things I kind of griped about earlier.
Yeah.
Or, you just get rid of that fluff because that's all it is. It's like, it's almost fan service at that point. So just get rid of it. Wasn't into that. So that's another fault. Obviously, I didn't really like this movie all that much, but there is fun stuff that I like about this. And that's what I wouldn't suggest a movie be remade if I didn't like a portion of it. It's just like these little things that add up as I've gone in the past on about before that, affect the overall like experience of a movie. And I get what they're going for because you kind of see this in, I think, some of the Chucky movies in a way where you've got like tongue-in-cheekness.
Yeah. And
that needs to stay. But you can't have too much of it because then it's too much cheek or whatever. It's not enough tongue. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's too much of one thing. And, let's focus on the movie. That's where like the bulk of what you're trying to do is anyway.
Yeah.
And even like someone like Grindhouse has that issue, right? Because no one wants to sit through like a 3.5 hour feature.
No. Like
twice, like a 1.5 hour feature twice. So, you got to like pick your battles. And I think that was like something they shouldn't have done. But to go back to the movie proper again, shit hits the fan. Billy Zane gets like booted out. And then Breaker starts fortifying the place. And then, that's when the collector, Billy Zane, like cuts himself open. He's got like green blood that we talked about earlier. And then from the blood, he like either spawns demons or they like are summoned through his blood. It's not clear.
I almost think spawned was probably more
so it's like a gremlin type of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, these are lesser demons, I guess. Because, they try to get in the house. We kind of like learn about some rules from the blood, and this is where like the mechanics like comes in, and this is the part where they thought we have to explain this somehow, and so they can't really touch it without getting hurt.
Yeah.
And if there's somehow like like ejected through the blood barrier, they basically blow up.
Yeah.
Like they die.
Yeah.
So, you know, they can't do that. And then Billy Zane, like he can't get through it either. Right.
No. He can get in, you know, as we go along, he can get into your head. Once he gets into your head, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of stay away. Don't let him in, you know, because he finds other ways. If he can't get in through the windows, the doors, because of this, you know, these seals, he's going to find another way to get in, you know, which he does.
Yeah.
And kind of starts picking them off one by one.
Yeah. And he starts with, obviously the cop dies, but then it's Cordelia next. And obviously at this point, we've had some time to cool off, explain the rules a bit. We haven't got like the exposition of like the key or whatever, but we got like small flashbacks of Breaker, like, you know, having some like Christ-like vision of like a hooded demon and like a guy who's like scared and they're by the cross and there's 3 crucifixions or whatever.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. Like obviously the movie's pretty heavy-handed on this. There's like no subtlety.
No,
like you know exactly what's going on with like one frame.
Yeah,
right.
And see, that's the thing too. Is it like, is it because you know, because now you're the person in charge of the key that you can almost visualize the past and on every you know kind of the origination of this and then other things that have transpired along the way.
Yeah, it's like shared memory type of deal.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool idea if they explored it, but they don't really explore it all that much. They're like, okay, this is basically what you need to know. So we don't need to like talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just so we don't have to like, I had to spend like 30 minutes trying to lecture you as I'm dying type of deal.
Yeah.
So
we get enough of it. We know what's happening here. Yeah, there's not a lot of that. I mean, we got the flashback to World War I where he basically gets the key for the first time. And, you know, so we don't get, it's to me, it seemed like a lot of the same flashbacks, you know, there were a lot of different ones. They're very, very much the same, you know.
You know, I forget like what the timeline of the key is, but I think the key, I don't like, when did the key get there, dude?
What was the key? Was
it already like on Earth? You know what I mean? Because if it was just like on Earth, like just show up when it's like a molten rock, you know, just grab the key. You know what I mean?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because if it's if it showed up like when like Christ was dying or whatever, or like before that.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just like get it real fast, you know? Got people with like just spears or whatever. It seems like a pretty easy thing to get.
Yeah. And I mean,
I mean, you don't have like cars. So, you know, people are like riding camels or whatever.
Riding camels.
Like, I mean, that we were like in Israel or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I forget where.
I mean, I mean, did it first initiate, I guess originate with the blood of Christ? Like they found that the blood of Christ would. And
that's the thing, because it's like, they specifically say God throws out the keys or the light throws out the keys. And I think if they don't say God, then they mean God, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the timeline is here. Was it just hurtling throughout space?
And why was there 7 keys? Was there a reason why there was 7?
I mean, 7's a very like,
it's kind of a biblical number.
It's 7 is like everyone loves 7, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even mathematicians love 7. You know, it's just a really nice. I don't know. I don't know enough to explain it.
Yeah.
I just know people love 7. Harry Potter loves 7. Everybody loves 7, dude. All right. I wish I could explain it better. That's only why I'm trying to move past it, because I can't.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like 7 is like a good number. Obviously,
7.
It's
deadly
also
sins. I mean, you know,
was George Costanza, was that 11 or 7 that he wanted to name his kid? You know,
I don't remember.
Was it
that
7
episode.
or 11?
Yeah, I don't remember that.
It was 11. It's not important. I
Yeah.
think if it was 7, I'd strengthen my case.
7 is kind of a number that's passed along forever. Like, I mean, something. I mean, there's always 7's always seems to be associated with something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a prime number.
Yeah. I mean, and 2 on his hand, wasn't there 7 stars? And they just had to align because there had to be 7 people.
Yeah.
And then the last person to survive out of the 7 would be the next person
that's stupid.
that controls the key.
Why do people need to die to pass along the key? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's dumb. I think it'd be just more efficient if we can just give the key to somebody.
But dude, I love the whole Billy Zane stuff outside when he's doing his old cowboy, poke duck motherfucker, all that.
Yeah.
I'm just digging him. I'm digging his character. Yeah, Cordelia, I think is the next one to get it.
Yeah, she is. She gets
she
seduced
gets-
by him, and
Yeah, he gets into her head.
yeah,
And then she, and then she does a number on Wally. So now, I okay.
I was
So
kind of pissed that she died so quick because like Roach slaps her around,
yeah,
and I'm like, what the fuck? You're like setting up a scene for Cordelia to, you know, like at the very least kill Roach, but even that doesn't happen.
no,
Roach kind of for like a second gets away scot free for a second,
for like a second, yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? Cordelia, I would have. So like, how like Evil Dead, like Ash's girlfriend turns into a Deadite.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of fun scenes. I believe that happens in both the first movie and the second movie. Why couldn't
more so in the second movie?
Right. Why can't we have that scene in this movie, except she's like killing Roach? You could have had like a lot of fun stuff with that, especially with their nature as like, client and whatever.
For sure.
And then the fact that he hits her around. And then like
he left her outside, remember? In the scene, he left her outside with the demons.
They're setting all that stuff up. And even got the Wally stuff. So I was like, okay, what if like Cordelia gets Wally too? Like it's like vampire rules.
Yeah.
And then like they go to town on Roach or something, and then like Billy Zane at the end is like, okay, you guys are good. Whatever. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do with you, like eat you or whatever. Like maybe like Billy Zane can like eat his lesser demons if he's like damaged, he gets hurt. Because I think at one point doesn't get hurt in some way. I don't remember. I know it gets hurt at the end, but like make it. Oh yeah, he gets shot in the head with an arrow. So like, what if like that happens? It's like, okay, my brain it'll heal on its own, but if I like eat a lesser demon, I'll heal faster. Then he like eats Cordelia and Willie or not. Mr. Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
so
Mr. Roger Rabbit.
So like you do that,
Wally. Yeah.
And that's some fun stuff. And you're also providing like reasons for like why Roach would die, like even if it's like after he gave Billy Zane the key or whatever, you know what I mean? So you can keep that plot thread the same, but then you keep like all this other setup you've built up and then you give like a proper conclusion rather than just like, okay, well, this is a horror movie. The characters have to die somehow. This is how they die. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cause they give part of that setup to why Cordelia would even be turned. But then, you just let Roach be an asshole to Cordelia, and it's
pretty much, yeah.
That isn't like redeemed in any way. That's like Chekhov's gun, Like all these scenes are just every single scene in a movie, every single piece of dialogue is just its own Chekhov's gun. It needs to go off, and it doesn't go off. And I know I'm like pissed. I'm like mad right now. And I was mad during them. I was like, as soon as he hit her, I was like, okay, she's got to kill him.
Yeah.
But then I remember watching this movie a long time ago, and I was like, yeah, I don't remember her killing him.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right, because the scene where she takes off, because we know she kills Wally, and then she takes the arm of Irene, and why couldn't it have been the arm of Roach just as a slow,
And it's like, okay, he needs to get to a hospital now, so he needs to get out. It's more. It's not just for his life now, or it's just for his like no scratch, please. It's for his life, like for sure.
Because he's
like actually dying now.
He basically went unscathed until that scene, that we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, I mean, there was like it was whatever for him. It didn't seem to give a crap.
He really sucked.
What did you think about the practical effects? Like they weren't like the Thing great, but they were pretty good, right? I mean,
I didn't think they were bad. I don't really remember most of them, honestly.
Well, the one practical effect with Cordelia and taking off Irene's arm, I thought that was cool. The one towards the end with the little kid, I forget the little kid's name, but that was pretty cool too. Because I mean, it reminded me of the Thing a little bit. Definitely not on the same level, but I enjoy these types of effects, even though they may look kind of hokey. That's the whole fun of it for me, man. I purely enjoy these. I would rather see that, than some of the other. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this, this is 95. I don't know what CGI was in 90. Was there CGI in 95? I'm sure there was something, but it was,
I mean, Jurassic Park came out 2 years earlier.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was great CGI. Uh,
Yeah.
that was phenomenal. I remember seeing that in the theater.
Well, that was also
Damn.
like a blockbuster they worked on for many years. Yeah.
Huge, dude. That was so good. I mean, it still holds up.
If you look at it from a distance, it holds up. You can like see like muddled texture and the lighting isn't perfect.
For 93, though,
But yeah,
that's
for 93, it's
damn-
pretty amazing.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
though.
it looks awesome still.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna like it has everything has weight and stuff.
Of course, it's Steven Spielberg, so it's just at another level, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you know,
People start dying. That's what happens.
basically,
you know?
people start dying here. We get
Honestly, like the demons don't even like kill everybody. You know, the demons kill like a 2 people. Actually, I think it's all Billy Zane, dude. Billy Zane kills everybody.
for the most part, it's Billy Zane.
And
you know,
then-
these demons are cool. For the most part, like I love the idea of these demons. If there was a few scenes where they're standing on their hind legs and they almost look like goats or something, right?
I mean, they don't have hind legs; they just have legs.
Oh,
But you're saying like,
I'm
like
sorry.
their legs
yeah.
look like
kind of like a
like a Beelzebub type, like
yeah.
like from I forget what the creature's called, a satyr. You know, like how Dave Grohl looks when he's playing the devil,
tenacious,
like
yes.
that. We always got
Yes.
the hooves,
Yes.
and it's kind of like bent backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They kind of have that look to them, which I like. But then there's other demons that look kind of cheesy, like
it's because they linger too long on the face.
yeah.
They need
Some
to
of the faces I'm cool with because I love the glowing eyes. I love this, man. I love Mia.
We didn't even talk about like you kill those demons by
by
popping their eyes.
yeah, you have
Because
to,
that's where the soul resides.
yeah.
That's,
you have
that's
to, yeah.
cool.
Somehow you have to either stab them, shoot them, arrow them, whatever through the eyes, and yeah, the soul basically what shoots out of them and they die.
It makes it harder than just like popping them in the brain, you know?
Yeah,
So
that's a harder shot.
isn't that like how it was for Night of the Creeps? Didn't they have to do something like that?
The head.
It's just the head. But don't
Yeah.
they have to like specifically kill the slug.
Yeah, so
thingy.
yeah, so what they would do is remember they would take the flamethrower, so they'd shoot the head.
Yeah.
It would pop open, and you'd have to hit the slugs or whatever with the flamethrower.
Yeah. I'm just realizing I call for a lot of sequels in these podcasts. And I think that's because the first movie
Sequels or remakes?
both. It's because like the first movie is always just like so promising and then they kind of fail on the execution. And it's like if someone just came at this from a slightly different angle, tightened up the scripts, the execution or whatever, you'd have like a genuinely good movie, like a timeless movie on your hands. And it's just like you know, like the more we do these podcasts, the more I'm just like bummed out. Like if you know, things were just a little bit different, this would be like a true classic. And not like just like a movie like, oh, Donovan can complain about, but like the Ricks of the world can like enjoy.
Mhm.
But like rather the Ricks and Donovans of the world can like really enjoy this,
Yeah,
you know, instead of just like Donovan being like, oh yeah, well, I like some of this,
yeah.
but like I can't say it's a good movie.
And do you think it's just a result of the times? Do you think that's what it comes down to? I mean, because you know,
You mean if you're saying that if you and I were born at the same time?
no. This is a result of it being from 1995. You
No,
know,
dude, the thing came out in like 80 what?
80, 98. Shit, the thing was 80 or 81 or 82. Shit, I always get them confused.
No, and
No, I
dude,
thought I always get it confused.
you and I feel exactly the same on the thing. It's a classic,
we
man.
do. Oh my god,
It's such a good movie.
I watch that movie every time it's on, and it blows me away some of the practical effects they did, and how did the hell did they do them? I've never watched like a documentary behind the scenes or making of for the thing, which I should. But I mean, when that head and then it sprouts the legs and it just, dude, and the tongue, that is phenomenal for that time. I mean, dude, seriously.
People still like make YouTube videos or just videos in general, like saying, okay, here's what I think the timeline of the thing is for like when so-and-so was infected. And obviously there's like a lot of gray area.
Yeah.
And then of course you have discussion on whether or not one of them was infected at the very end. And you've got, you know, full discourse based on who is or is not infected for both parties, right?
Yeah.
And then you have like discussions of whether or not the alcohol was like really alcohol or was it like oil or something. Like all these crazy shit. And that's like so fun.
Yeah.
And that's like discussion that's, you know, still happening 40 years later.
So crazy. Yeah. So I guess,
know.
I mean, you know, is that a result of is that a result of a brilliant filmmaker and John Carpenter versus I forget who directed Demon Knight.
But let's also like remember that, you know, John Carpenter was just a filmmaker at one point with a low budget and he made Halloween.
He did. He did. On his probably a shoestring budget too in 1978. Man.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, it's true. You know, I don't know what sort of budget they had in 95 and, you know,
I'll say this, making movies are hard, especially when you've got to make movies with like 100 different people. And especially when you have to like acquiesce to the people handing the money and you get notes from them and you've got to go through all this stuff. And
true.
Maybe the original vision was much better than what we got, but that doesn't mean you can't still judge the movie based on what you have.
Do you think though in 1980, you know, let's just, because we're talking about The Thing, you know, the liberties that John Carpenter had versus say whoever directed Demon Knight, it's going to be vastly different.
Yeah.
You totally know, and how many different people got their hands in this thing. And that sometimes is the problem, you know?
Yeah. There could be a million different reasons why a movie couldn't have been that good.
Yeah.
So it's a bummer. I wish every movie was good.
Yeah, I mean,
especially every movie we talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but I mean, it's okay. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with having bad movies and good movies and okay movies. I mean, it's just, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, every movie can't be great, man. It's just not in the cards.
No, that's not to say this movie isn't fun. I still like.
Yeah, this movie is still fun.
If you were to ask me, Donovan, did you waste your time? I'd be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the past, I've always gone like, okay, this movie is worth it because, and this movie is worth it because Billy Zane's performance is dope, and ideas, the rules of the movie, like some of that is really interesting, and those things being explored is kind of good enough to make everything else in this movie kind of cool. And these days, the movie is kind of like a time capsule for like early to mid 90s type of stuff. Because you got like Jada with like the bleached hair.
Yeah.
You know, you've got her in like these like denim overalls. You got Billy Zane, who looks like he's about to go to a casino.
Totally. Yeah.
You got all like, you know, you got like shit like that. And that's like cool too. Like,
it is. I mean, it totally dated itself. It felt like a 90s movie to me, you know, just colors and atmosphere and just dialogue as a whole. It just banks of the 90s, but you know, it's still a fun movie. You know, I have a good time with it. And that's really what it comes down with me. It depends on the type of movie I'm watching, man. If I'm watching some ghost movie and versus a movie like this versus a slasher, it's just about what I know what to expect because I've seen so many of these. I know what to expect. You know, I didn't know I would like Demon Knight when it first came out. I saw it, I liked it, and I've liked it since. I mean, I it's just kind of entertaining for me. I don't have to think too much, you know. Like I said, I think I've analyzed the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of this episode more than I did in the previous however many times I watched it, you know.
You know, like the title is like obviously a pun because it's spelled KNIA,
correct,
blah blah blah. But like the like the Breaker character, the Jada character, they're not really knights, you know, they're not killing demons. I kind of wish the movie was just called Demon Knight, like NIGHT.
I don't,
because that would make way more sense because they have to live through a night of demons. I'm actually kind of getting a little mad by that right now.
So hold on a second. So, I've thought about this name. I like it because it's a play on the word. So they are I mean, what does a knight do? KNIGHT. What does a knight do? Does it protect?
Well, yeah, they protect the monarchy.
Okay, so let's throw the monarchy out or whatever. Let's just, you know, they're a protector of this key, and if it gets into the wrong hands, the apocalypse occurs. And so I would argue they're a knight.
Okay.
They're a knight.
All right, you're selling me a little bit, but I still wish they had like some cool weapon or something.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Because right now it's more like the demon runaway team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're just kind of running away the whole time.
Yeah. They don't really have a weapon, do they?
But
I mean, other than this key in the blood, and it's really not, you know.
You're right in that they're like protecting the universe from being ripped into. So, I mean, all right, I'm less mad.
Okay, good.
But I'm still like not fully on board.
Because I always liked the name. I always thought it was a cool name, you know.
Look, we'd be on the same page if he just had a cool gun or something.
It's something cool. He needed some cool weapon.
If you wanted the title Demon Knight, yeah, he needed like a sword, like a Christ gun. I don't know.
He should have had something other than just random guns that he was finding, you know.
He did have a gun, didn't he? But it was just like some normal revolver, right? Or was that the cop's gun?
Shit. I thought he had. Oh, you know what?
He had a knife. He had a knife. He had a switchblade.
Yeah. That's not as cool.
No,
that's not as cool.
It was in the shape of a cross and it killed demons and Billy Zane and stuff. That would be sweet.
Yeah. But like if he had something that he threw and it came back to him or some shit. I don't know.
You know who would be good remaking this movie is Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin wouldn't.
Dude, really? He did. He wrote From Dusk Till Dawn, bro.
No, dude, I know. I'm not arguing, but Quentin wouldn't spend any time doing this.
Well, hear me out.
But I don't disagree with you.
I don't know if remakes qualify as part of his 10 movie rule. He's never established that. So this could easily fall in through that loophole. Then he makes a bunch of like remakes, including this.
I don't think so.
Dude, he would kill this movie.
Oh, he would kill this. Dude, Sam Raimi would kill this movie.
Sam Raimi was also an excellent choice. Also, someone we talked about not too long ago, James Gunn, would also kill this
James
too.
Gunn would kill this movie, huh?
Yeah, I'm also getting pretty excited about the Suicide Squad. Have you seen like promotional stills for the movie lately?
I saw
like John Cena and a bunch of other people in like costumes.
Yeah, I did. It looked pretty cool. I think I watched. There's a trailer for it, right?
There's like a teaser.
Yeah, I think I watched that. It was cool. Yeah. I mean, we need some. I don't know when they're going to release it because they don't seem to be releasing any movies these days.
No.
I heard that Bond movie that they're in some sort of bidding war to buy the Bond movie, like Netflix and some other like streaming services are like Apple is another one that are bidding to buy the rights for the new James Bond movie.
That's pretty smart.
And someone said it was up to 600 million. I'm like, that's not possible. There is no way they're selling that for 600 million. Could that be possible?
If they have like an exclusivity deal for like 10 years, I can see that.
Oh.
Because like if they're doing it for just like a year, there's no way they're recouping that money.
No way. 600, no way, dude.
No
freaking way.
You're lucky if your movie makes that.
Bond movies don't make those. No, I love Bond movies, man. And Daniel Craig is great. But those Bond movies, they never do they do okay.
Do Bond movies do good in China? Do they do good overseas?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because obviously, I don't know. It's been a long time since I paid attention to the box office. Because I just don't remember like any domestic box office topping 600 million besides like the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Or something. Like I don't remember.
Unless it's a Disney movie.
Those numbers aren't like in my brain anymore. Because I remember when like 300 million was like crazy.
Oh,
right.
Dude, I remember when like 50 million.
Yeah.
That's dating myself. And 50 million was like, oh my God, that's nuts.
Well, didn't like Castaway make like $300 million? And people were like, oh, dang.
Oh,
that's insane.
Maybe.
Because I remember like seeing that on EW when I was like 10 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, we're dating ourselves.
Yeah. So let's get back. We're close to the end here. I mean
we're at the end.
We're at the end. I mean, this is kind of like.
So Irene blows herself up with
Deputy Bob.
Yeah.
They find Wally's concoction of grenades and stuff up in the. I don't know what this is. This is an attic or something. They find all the mail that he was stealing and reading. He was going to go and probably blow up the post office. So they basically do like a, I don't know. They kind of kill themselves, I guess, and blow up some demons in the process. We do got to talk about the scene though with Roach, because I think that happened prior to this, where Roach steals the key from Breaker, cuts a deal with the Collector, and gives him the key, and he thinks he's golden. And it takes about 2 seconds for the demons to rip him apart. So that was, he got his just desserts, right?
Yeah, I like it when like an evil character says, "I lied." I forget what other. Sorry, I forget what other movie does that, where they're like, "Oh yeah, and I lied." I was thinking about this as while we were watching it, but I'm into that.
Yeah,
because it's like, yeah, he's a bad dude.
He's this demon, man. I mean,
Roach. Like, when have you ever seen Billy Zane be honest throughout this entire time? Like, but I guess Roach is really stupid, and he's purely self-motivated.
Yeah, he's an asshole, man.
You'd believe that.
You know,
he should have just like covered himself in the blood. Obviously, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens, and then
we got the part with the Uncle Willie part's kind of cool, right? Where
this makes me mad, dude.
Did you not like this part? The part with all the
this is from me watching
TNA.
like 4 and 5 seasons of like Rescue Me or whatever before eventually dropping it, and like Dennis Lear is just like getting off the wagon, then getting back on the wagon. Then I've seen this a million times already. And I know it's not your fault. You know, this was before then, but even then, like the alcohol trope, that was old. And like, oh, he's going to turn into a demon because he can't like break this vice. Well, that sucks. So didn't like that very much. Well, you know, Wally like starts attacking people. He's dealt with
Willie, Uncle Willie. Willie and Wally's already dead.
We're not going to break that. It's Wally now, dude. So that happens. At this point, they try to escape through the bottom. Somehow they gained a member instead of losing anybody. So they bring in that kid from the restaurant from before. We didn't really talk about it. It's not important. Let's move on.
He's not important.
Yeah. He like, you know, we get some more fan service where he's like reading Tales from the Crypt comic book. And this is at the very end. We're just down to 3 people. Jada, Breaker, and the kid. The kid is reading the comic book, and that turns him into a demon.
Again, this is where we get the practical effects, which are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which are kind of cool. I kind of dig these. Even though he's a little kid and the practical effect was like 3 times as big, but whatever.
Yeah, it makes him bigger.
Yeah, it makes him bigger. But
so Breaker gets wounded. There's a fight with like Billy Zane, you know, and you know, he like gives the blood to Jada. Billy Zane comes in, is like, okay, I got this covered, dude. You know, he like so Billy Zane does some cool stuff. He can't really like touch her because at this point she's like bathed herself in Breaker blood, right? And that's like acting as protection.
Yeah.
So what he has to do is he has to like not touch her. And have you seen like Pushing Daisies? This is where like, you know, that logic comes in where you need to wrap her up. Don't touch the blood.
Yeah.
Then you need to wash her. So that's exactly what he does.
Yeah.
And then
pretty clever.
Then like out of left field, like he falls in love with Jada. So that kind of keeps her alive enough to like kill him. Billy Zane dies. But like during that whole sequence, you get fun stuff where he's like dancing with her. She's like got blood in her mouth because she wants to like do something with it, like probably spit it on him, maybe get it in his mouth as she tries to do something weird. You know what I mean? So that's like her weapon. And so she goes through like 3 minutes or so, just keeping the blood in her mouth, not swallowing it, not spitting out or anything. That's neat. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then she finally gets a shot. She takes it, and then she just spits the Breaker blood on his face, and then he like blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and obviously, like, you know, Billy Zane is cool, but there's no reason he couldn't come back in like a remake or sequel.
I mean, yeah, he still looks good. I looked at him up too.
Yeah.
You know.
So you know.
So she you know, she gets the key. She fills the blood up. She fills the key up with blood of Breakers. You know, and
the rest of her life she's gonna be running away from demons.
The rest of her life, however long that's gonna be.
Could be 80 years. Could be a year.
Yeah, yeah. She's got the 7 stars on her hand, and you know,
it's pretty shitty.
Yeah. It's kind of sucks, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're giving her this responsibility. It's like, oh, okay.
I kind of see what.
But if you think about it, what 7 of them could have handled that? Was she the most? I don't know. Out of the 7 people that, you know, we had to choose from to take this key and to fight the demons, I mean, who else would you have chosen for that role other than her? Out of the 7 that we were given, I mean, it made sense, right? I mean, she's young. She kind of took care of herself, you know. She could kick some ass.
Well, if it went to the guy who played Mr. Roger Rabbit, he probably would have just lost it.
Wally.
Yeah.
Well, he's an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Uncle Willie's not. Irene, I mean, I don't know. She may have been able to handle it. You know, maybe the sheriff.
Honestly,
you know?
because both the sheriff, the deputy, I mean the deputy and Irene, they literally go out like bombs blazing, bro.
They do.
They could have, I think honestly, other than Jada, probably them. Because if they were willing to sacrifice themselves for those 3,
true,
that's bigger balls than literally anyone else in the movie.
True. I don't know how I would have entrusted it with the deputy, though. He just was not too bright.
The thing is that if they lose it, and they don't know where it is, do the demons know where it is? You
I
know what
don't
I'm
know.
saying?
That's the thing. I don't know.
So that could be like a foolproof plan.
Yeah.
You just have someone so incompetent, they lose it and it's just gone forever.
It's gone forever.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works that way.
Well, I mean, the movie doesn't explain it.
No, it doesn't. But we know she, she fills up the key and she's heading out of town, and she gets on a bus and she seals it. And then we get another, I guess we're going to call him the next collector. I don't know.
Yeah.
And, he sees the seal, and he decides to pass, and that's it, man.
I'll get the next one.
And so we don't know. And that's it. We don't get anything else. We don't get a sequel.
Nope.
We don't have nothing else, Still a fun movie.
It's all right.
Still enjoyable. I enjoyed myself. It did feel like 1995, when I watched it again. It did feel a little dated, but I still have fun with it. So I would say if anyone hasn't seen it, check it out after we've ruined it.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, you do you. If you'd rather watch this than, I don't know, Watchmen or something, or Breaking Bad, or The Sopranos.
Excuse me. Hold on a second. Damn it. I've watched Breaking Bad. I started The Sopranos, and yes, I've started it twice, and it feels overwhelming. It's like 7 seasons and it's a ton of time. And Watchmen I've heard is good. There's so many shows I want to watch. We're finishing up The Umbrella Academy right now.
Oh yeah. Real quick. So I went to Barnes and Noble, because, those places are open now. And I found I Am a Hero.
Oh,
and they've got like a 3-volume omnibus. So I was like looking at that, and dude, I just kind of I almost bought it, but I was like, okay, I want to buy this and Avatar Kyoshi. I was like, I don't want to drop $40 right now. So, I'm trying to save my money, so I didn't spend any money. So that was pretty smart of me, but I was flipping through the pages, and like, it's way different, dude. Like, how like we get that dream sequence with, what's his face? Our main character.
Yeah.
And I was going through like the first few pages, and the first few pages are like him like dancing. Like he goes into his apartment, and it's like a 1 or 2 page spread of him just like panel like 9 panels each page, just like dancing. I was like, oh yeah, like this is the same tone, but it's a way different already, dude. So like, I don't know, I'm very interested in like reading it, but I haven't picked it up yet.
Yeah, because the manga came out. The manga came out prior, and then they made the movie.
Yeah, I don't know how long it was.
I'm trying to remember, because the movie was 2015. Does that sound right?
I think the manga came out like early 2010s or late 2009s.
Yeah, because there wasn't like a big overlap there. I think it was like
I think it was
20.
Wasn't it ending as the movie came out? I don't remember.
I thought
Didn't
it was.
we talk about it?
Yeah, we did,
man.
Dude, but we suck, man. I do. My memory's terrible.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting. I thought it was cool. I'm excited to check it out, because obviously it's like, it has to be very different.
I'd like you. I mean, I know we're wrapping up this episode, but there's a movie that I want you and I to do. It's called I Saw the Devil.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe,
is that a horror movie? I thought that was more of like a feel bad for a while movie.
They say it's a horror movie, but I don't know how much horror is in it.
Doesn't that movie like center around like a rape in a car? Is that what the movie I'm talking about?
No, I think well, it could be. I think this man.
I'll be honest. I'm not into that right now.
I don't think it's that though. I think what happens is, maybe his wife does get killed, and then I don't know. I don't want to ruin it, but
okay.
But I heard it's really good. I don't know if it's horror though.
Did we do Train to Busan on this podcast?
No, we haven't.
Train to Busan 2 is out, man.
Well, we could do that.
Those
are good.
They're not really related, so.
Oh, is it like a?
It's like an in-universe thing. It's not like a sequel thing.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
That'll be fun. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, if it's a standalone movie, why not?
Yeah, why not? It's on the books.
Yeah.
So no promises though. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, I guess that's it, man.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Stay safe out there and enjoy 2020.
It's almost over, but 2021 will be just as bad.
No, it won't. Shut up. Stop being negative.
All righty, guys.
Take care. Thanks again for listening. Make sure you tell everyone about our Ear for Fear podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ear for Fear. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There you can keep up to date on news, events, and episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you come back and get an earful.